What if I told you that one of the wisest and wealthiest kings in human history held secrets so dark they almost led to his destruction? Imagine a ruler who built monumental temples, amassed incredible wealth, and penned some of the most profound words of wisdom. But beneath this splendor lies a shadowy tale, one of demons, forbidden magic, and moral decay. This is the story of King Solomon, a man whose name echoes through history as both a symbol of divine wisdom and human frailty. What lessons can his extraordinary rise and catastrophic fall teach us today? Let's dive deep into this enigma. King Solomon's journey to greatness began in a whirlwind of family drama. Born to King David and Bathsheba, Solomon was not the oldest son, nor the obvious heir. In fact, his father's household was rife with intrigue. David had numerous wives, each vying for power, and Solomon's elder brothers were eager to claim the throne. Yet, it was Solomon, a younger son, whom God chose. Picture the scene: an aging King David, bedridden and frail, while the palace buzzes with rumors. Adonijah, Solomon's older brother, declared himself king, throwing a lavish feast to solidify his claim. But Bathsheba and the prophet Nathan intervened. They reminded David of his promise that Solomon would rule after him. Against the odds, Solomon was crowned king, anointed with oil by the priest Zadok, while the streets of Jerusalem echoed with the sound of trumpets and cheers. He was just a teenager at the time, tasked with leading a kingdom already fraught with division. Solomon's reign began with a pivotal moment that would define his legacy. According to biblical accounts, God appeared to him in a dream, saying, "Ask for whatever you want me to give you." Pause for a moment. What would you ask for? Riches? Long life? Victory over your enemies? Solomon's request was different. He asked for wisdom to govern his people justly. God was so pleased with his selflessness that he granted Solomon unparalleled wisdom and added wealth and honor as bonuses. It's said that no king before or after him ever matched his brilliance. But here's the twist. With great power comes great responsibility, and Solomon's choices would soon test the limits of his wisdom. One of Solomon's crowning achievements was the construction of the first temple in Jerusalem. This wasn't just any building, it was a sacred space, designed to house the Ark of the Covenant and serve as the spiritual heart of Israel. The temple's construction was a massive undertaking, involving tens of thousands of workers, vast quantities of gold, cedar wood imported from Lebanon, and intricate stone carvings. The temple's inner sanctum, the Holy of Holies, was overlaid with pure gold, symbolizing divine perfection. Imagine the awe of stepping into such a space, gilded walls reflecting the flickering light of oil lamps, the scent of incense filling the air. Yet, this grand project came at a cost. Many of the workers were conscripted laborers, including Israelites. The strain of forced labor would sow seeds of discontent that later fractured the kingdom. Solomon's reign wasn't just marked by architectural splendor. He was a shrewd economist and diplomat. He established trade networks that stretched from Egypt to Mesopotamia and beyond, bringing immense wealth into Israel. It's said that silver was so abundant in Jerusalem during his time that it was considered as common as stone. But his wealth didn't only come from trade. Solomon formed strategic alliances through marriages, 700 wives and 300 concubines, to be precise. Each marriage strengthened his political ties, but it also introduced foreign influences that would later compromise his spiritual integrity. Solomon's wisdom wasn't confined to governance. He was a prolific writer, credited with authoring much of the Book of Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and the Song of Solomon. These texts brim with insights into human nature, morality, and the search for meaning. Take, for example, Proverbs 4-7. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding. These words resonate even today, urging us to prioritize knowledge and discernment. Now, let's delve into the shadows of Solomon's legacy. Among the many legends surrounding him, one stands out: the story of the Seal of Solomon. This magical ring, supposedly given to him by the Archangel Gabriel, was said to grant him the power to command spirits, including demons. The ring bore a symbol often depicted as a six-pointed star that became synonymous with mystical protection. What did Solomon use this power for? According to apocryphal texts like the Testament of Solomon, he summoned demons to aid in constructing the temple. Imagine the sight. Supernatural beings bound to his will, performing feats of strength beyond human capability. But here's the catch: dabbling in the occult came with consequences. One of the most chilling tales involves Asmodeus, the so-called king of demons. Solomon captured Asmodeus using the seal and forced him to reveal secrets of the spirit world. But as the story goes, this relationship was fraught with danger. At one point, Asmodeus tricked Solomon, stealing his ring and casting him into exile. Stripped of his power and identity, Solomon wandered as a commoner, reflecting on the hubris that led to his downfall. These stories highlight a profound tension in Solomon's life. He was a man of God who sought wisdom, yet he couldn't resist the allure of forbidden knowledge. His flirtation with the occult serves as a cautionary tale. Even the wisest among us can be seduced by power. Solomon's story forces us to confront an uncomfortable truth. Wisdom and power are double-edged swords. They can elevate us to greatness or lead us to ruin. His life reminds us to use our gifts responsibly, always mindful of the consequences. Every decision we make shapes our destiny. Solomon's request for wisdom brought him glory, but his later choices, his alliances, his indulgence in idolatry, led to his kingdom's division. What choices are you making today, and how will they define your legacy? Over the centuries, Solomon's story has inspired countless myths. From Freemasonry to Ethiopian legends of the Ark of the Covenant, his name is linked to secrets and mysteries that continue to fascinate. But how much of it is true? Archaeologists and historians are still unraveling the facts. What makes Solomon's story so enduring? Perhaps it's the way it mirrors our own struggles, the tension between our highest aspirations and our deepest flaws. His wisdom invites us to seek understanding, while his failures remind us to remain humble. Recent studies in archaeoastronomy suggest that Solomon's temple may have been designed with celestial alignments in mind. Scholars have hypothesized that the structure's dimensions and orientation were not only symbolic, but also functional, aligning with key astronomical events such as solstices and equinoxes. Could the temple have been an ancient observatory or a spiritual gateway connecting heaven and earth? Sacred geometry also plays a significant role in theories about the temple's construction. The measurements described in biblical accounts echo patterns found in the Great Pyramid of Giza and Stonehenge. Is it possible that Solomon's architects had access to a shared, ancient knowledge of mathematics and geometry that transcended cultures? What do you think about the possibility of the temple being a celestial map? Share your thoughts in the comments. The Queen of Sheba's visit to Solomon is one of the most enigmatic episodes in his story. Ancient texts and Ethiopian traditions suggest their meeting was far more than a political encounter. Some believe she tested Solomon with riddles to assess his wisdom, while others claim their union produced a son, Menelik I, who founded the Ethiopian Solomonic dynasty. This connection deepens when considering the Ethiopian legend that Menelik carried the Ark of the Covenant back to Axum, where it is said to remain to this day. Could Solomon's wisdom and Sheba's legacy have seeded a lineage that shaped an entire civilization? Do you believe the Ark of the Covenant could be in Ethiopia? Let us know your theory below. While Solomon's temple remains elusive, ongoing excavations in Jerusalem have unearthed artifacts that hint at the grandeur of his reign. In 2019, researchers uncovered evidence of large-scale construction projects from the 10th century BC, including walls and pottery fragments linked to Solomon's era. However, some scholars argue these finds are not definitive. Could the biblical accounts have exaggerated Solomon's wealth and power? Or are we simply missing the pieces to complete the puzzle? CTA, would you trust archaeological evidence over historical texts? Share your take in the comments. Here's a mind-bending question. What if Solomon's temple was not just a place of worship, but also a prototype for advanced technology? Some fringe theorists suggest the Ark of the Covenant, housed within the temple, functioned as an energy source, possibly even a form of ancient battery. In speculative fiction, such artifacts are likened to stargates, portals to other dimensions. Could Solomon's wisdom have included knowledge of energies and dimensions beyond our comprehension? While purely hypothetical, these ideas inspire fascinating questions about ancient civilizations and their possible technological prowess. Linguists and historians have drawn parallels between Solomon's myths and other global legends. For instance, the ancient Indian Vedas reference a wise king who could command celestial beings, much like Solomon's control over demons. In Greek mythology, King Minos used the labyrinth to confine the Minotaur, reminiscent of Solomon binding demons with his seal. Chinese folklore tells of Emperor Yu, who used divine tools to tame chaotic waters, a theme similar to Solomon's use of magic for temple construction. These stories suggest a shared archetype of the wise and powerful king. Were these myths independently developed, or could they hint at ancient cross-cultural exchanges of ideas? Solomon's association with esoteric knowledge has made him a central figure in Freemasonry. The organization views the construction of the temple as a metaphor for personal and spiritual growth. Symbols like the compass, square, and unfinished pyramid are said to be inspired by Solomon's architectural vision. But why does this connection persist? Perhaps it's because the story of Solomon speaks to a universal human desire for wisdom, mastery, and the pursuit of the divine. From novels like The Da Vinci Code to video games like Assassin's Creed, Solomon's legend continues to inspire creators. His seal appears in countless fantasy stories, often portrayed as an artifact of immense power. Movies like Raiders of the Lost Ark and series like Supernatural draw on his associations with the Ark of the Covenant and demonology, showing how his legacy fuels both historical intrigue and supernatural thrillers. CTA, what's your favorite pop culture depiction of Solomon? Drop your recommendations below. Imagine if Solomon's grand designs, his temple, palaces, and urban infrastructure were a blueprint for sustainable, futuristic cities. His focus on centralized governance, trade hubs, and resource distribution could inform modern urban planning. What if ancient knowledge, hidden in texts like the Testament of Solomon, held secrets to renewable energy or harmonious living? Could we be looking at his reign as a prototype for future civilizations? Delving into the psychological dimension, Solomon represents the archetype of the wise ruler, a figure who balances intellect and emotion, justice and compassion. Carl Jung, a pioneer of analytical psychology, might have seen Solomon as embodying the self, a state of integration and wholeness. His story is also a cautionary tale about the dangers of the shadow self, the parts of us driven by greed, lust, and pride. Solomon's fall is a reminder that even the wisest are not immune to inner conflict. How does Solomon's story reflect the human condition? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Solomon's Proverbs remain a treasure trove of practical advice. Let's revisit one. As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. This speaks to the value of mentorship and collaboration concepts as relevant in our workplaces and relationships as they were in ancient Israel. Each proverb offers a lens through which to navigate modern challenges, from personal growth to leadership. Solomon's wisdom may be ancient, but its application is timeless. Despite all we know, Solomon's story is far from fully understood. Archaeological digs, theological debates, and speculative theories ensure his legacy remains dynamic. So, what do you take away from the story of Solomon? Is it his brilliance, his wealth, or his downfall? More importantly, what would you do if you held the kind of power he wielded? Would you use it wisely or succumb to its temptations? Share your thoughts in the comments, and let's explore these questions together. Remember, Solomon's story isn't just ancient history. It's a mirror reflecting the choices we face every day.